I am officially declaring a national emergency.
Now at 6, national emergency. President Trump just making it official what this means for the fight against the coronavirus.
Also, as the number of cases in New York quickly rise, a new tool in the battle against the pandemic, drive-through testing. But this depends on where you live.
And 175,000 students in Bergen County have their last day of school as the coronavirus forces them to learn from home. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Natalie Pascarella.
And I'm David Ushery. As you heard, President Trump declared a national emergency to combat the coronavirus pandemic. The case number does continue to rise in the tri-state.
Yeah, the number of cases in the city shot up by 59 overnight, a number that will no doubt rise, as we've heard. Let's give you a look at the cases in the tri-state. New York now has 421. New Jersey has 50. That includes 1 death from earlier this week. And Connecticut has 11 cases. And do you notice the one person at the normally crowded closing bell podium? Look at that. But Wall Street liked that $50 billion that comes with President Trump's emergency declaration. All the major indices rose, with the Dow Jones Industrial enjoying a 9% gain. You could say we needed that. News 4's Melissa Russo in the newsroom with more on what the president had to say. Melissa.
Well, first of all, Natalie, President Trump uttering those 2 words that he had resisted saying until this afternoon, national emergency, conveying a sense of urgency that some felt his prior statements had lacked. Also, importantly, those words unlocking as much as $50 billion in federal aid to fight the coronavirus pandemic.
A national emergency. 2 very big words.
Today's emergency declaration also lifts a slew of regulations that could present barriers to treatment by limiting, for instance, what kind of spaces hospitals can use to treat patients and how long they have to wait before sending a patient to a nursing home. The president also announcing this afternoon that private sector partnerships will now expand the number of available coronavirus tests to 1.4 million by next week and 5 million within a month. Though he says he doubts that 5 million tests will be necessary. And he made the argument that not everyone who wants a test should be tested. Now, you can see here this press conference in the Rose Garden brought the president shoulder to shoulder with the country's coronavirus task force. And despite the national CDC recommendations not to touch each other, not to shake hands, to maintain a 6-foot distance from others, we all watched as the president proceeded to shake hands with the CEOs of companies like Target and Walmart and Walgreens, and he and his vice president Pence touching some of the government's top officials responsible for protecting the public. Notably, President Trump today downplayed questions about his own potential exposure to the coronavirus after he met recently with a Brazilian official who later tested positive.
Are you being selfish by not getting tested and potentially
Well, I
exposing?
didn't say I wasn't going to be tested.
Are you going to be?
Most likely, yeah. Most
When
likely.
do you think
Not for
that'll
that
happen?
reason, but because I think I will do it anyway.
Will you let us know
fairly
the
soon.
results?
We're working on that. We're working out a schedule.
The president insisting he was assured by his White House doctors that he has no symptoms and that he does not want people who are asymptomatic being tested. But the CDC has repeatedly said that people can be asymptomatic and pass the virus on to others. Natalie, David?
All right, Melissa, thank you so much coming out of that today. Also, Mayor de Blasio just updating New Yorkers at a press conference. We have News 4's Andrew Sipp, who was there. He is live at City Hall with the latest. Andrew.
Well, Natalie, Broadway may be closed, but New York City schools are staying open. That is the bottom line from Mayor de Blasio. He said he knows he's going to hear it. He's heard it from parents. He's heard it from the city council speaker. He heard it today from the teachers union. But the mayor said despite all of those concerns, New York City schools will remain open, although today they experienced a major dip in attendance. Despite pressure from the teachers union and city council president, who said in the interest of public health, kids should stay home.
We have to stop transmission, and I think one of the ways of doing that is temporarily closing the schools.
Mayor Bill de Blasio insisted today the safest place for many of the 1.1 million kids is their schools, where many depend on 2 meals per day.
I understand the anxieties right now. I also understand that many parents want us to keep school open. Depend on it, need it, don't have an option.
Some parents we spoke with said they felt academic pressure to keep sending their kids. But why did you bring her?
Because what can I do? Because it's like school. It's like exam and everything. It's like, what can I do?
The city has insisted absences won't be counted. Today, attendance dipped to 68% system-wide. 1 out of 3 students staying home.
So actually that's a great out, because for the parents who can keep their kids home, they can. The absences won't be counted. And then maybe leave the schools open for the families that need it.
And even though Broadway, museums, libraries, and cultural institutions are closed, also staying open is mass transit, despite a major decline in commuters. The MTA says LIRR ridership is down 31%, Metro North 48%, subways 19%, and buses 15%. Despite the drop-off, this vow today from the MTA chairman.
We are not going to stop transit service in New York City, period, full stop.
And while schools are staying open, the mayor said after meeting with the teachers union, he is going to make changes. For example, now that the weather's getting better, many gym classes will move outdoors. A lot of lunch periods where kids tend to be crammed together, touching each other in the cafeteria, will be scattered out into classrooms to create some of that social distancing, which we've all heard is so critical to slow down the spread of the disease. We're live outside of City Hall. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
Okay, Andrew, thank you for that update from City Hall. Now, a big development in the fight against coronavirus, mobile drive-through testing. A center opened this morning in New Rochelle, and as we've told you, that's really the epicenter of the cases here in New York State, and one of the big epicenters in the country, frankly. News 4's Mark Santia is live in New Rochelle to explain to us exactly how this works and who can go. Mark?
And David, this is the entrance to Glen Island Park. You can see the sign behind me. It is clear. Instructions: keep the car windows rolled up. You need an appointment, and then you're allowed onto the island for testing. Outfitted in hazmat suits, testing for novel coronavirus is underway inside these special tents. The East Coast's first mobile lab is up and running for people who have appointments.
They can come to be tested and literally drive through the testing facilities.
A few miles down the road, school is canceled in many parts of Westchester County, but that did not stop this brother and sister team from teaching a valuable lesson in volunteering.
There could be kids who don't have food like me, and I wanted to help them still be able to eat, even though there's no school.
Jaleesa and Tomas are preparing food here at 95 Lincoln Avenue in New Rochelle, and Mom could not be more proud.
This is what New Rochelle is about. We pitch in and we help each other. We are a tight-knit community.
It's really about working together.
Daniel Benet of Westcop is providing free books and feeding thousands of people with an assist from the National Guard, residents, and businesses.
We need food for our families that can last them for days.
We're a tight-knit community and nothing's going to stop us.
Mario Salvo owns Deanna's Pizzeria. The restaurant is in the New Rochelle containment area, but Mario says business is improving.
Things are starting to pick back up. I think everybody's kind of started to realize, like, you know, this area is safe.
Giving back instead of focusing solely on their business in a time of crisis, Mario and the team here at Deanna's Pizzeria decided to pay it forward. They've been donating free pizza to folks here at 95 Lincoln Avenue. Mario says that is what New Rochelle is all about.
Supporting the community and helping the people that help us and support us.
So just what's happening back behind me on the island? Drive-through testing. We're told it takes just minutes. If you have an appointment, and you have to have an appointment, you drive onto the island into a secured tent. That's when you're approached by medical personnel who are wearing hazmat suits. You're then asked to roll down the window. They'll take a swab from your nose, from your mouth. They'll put that into a vial, and that vial is shipped out to a lab in New Jersey. Results come back in 48 hours. We're live in New Rochelle. I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
All right, Mark, thank you. Well, City Meals on Wheels is working with the city in response to the coronavirus. That organization has delivered nearly 20,000 emergency meals to elderly and senior New Yorkers. It's also working with the Department of Aging to prepare nearly 200,000 emergency meals in case senior centers are forced to close. Now, the New York Public Library is taking action to protect visitors, too. All locations will be closed to the public starting tomorrow. They'll remain closed through the end of the month.
As soon as New Jersey public school students left this afternoon, all schools in Bergen County were closed. That comprises 75 districts with more than 175,000 students, 16,000 teachers. And those schools are going to be closed indefinitely. News Force Pat Battle taking a closer look at how parents plan to cope.
Bergen County has the highest number of COVID-19 cases at 15, the majority of them here in Teaneck, which is why the superintendent didn't wait for that directive. Schools here were closed today.
I felt it was prudent for us to take proactive measures to allow our students the opportunity to work from home and to get instruction from home. And so we put together a series of protocols in place with our faculty, staff, and administrators. And I'm really proud of our community and how we banded together.
Teaneck school superintendent got ahead of the curve, closing schools today when other districts didn't wait for the bell to ring at 3 o'clock. Here in Bergenfield, students were dismissed at 12:30.
I think having a little time to calm everything and hopefully to learn more about the virus and figure out what to do, I think it's a good step.
Most parents are going to have to do what Joel and his wife will be doing, juggling.
So I'm going to adjust my schedule again, because my wife works too. You know, both of us work, so we switch.
If the governor's message is any indication, every district in the state should be preparing to follow suit.
We are working around the clock to ensure that when their time comes, and it is a when and not an if, it is a when and not an if, they will be prepared to provide all critical services for their communities.
Kids left Bergenfield with enough work to carry them through for at least 2 weeks.
I would just be reading and doing my homework for school. My backpack's really full right now.
And there's no guarantee when schools will reopen, so this mom's getting ready.
I'm actually going to go to the store and buy some workbooks for him to do so that he has extra work to do so he's not just sitting on his iPad all day.
I would rather be in school because I want to get more smarter and more greater.
Pat Battle, News 4, New York.